Hello there. I'm Scotty, you're not, and welcome to my official revisited review for Halloween 2 from 1981. Just so you're aware, I still have a cold, but I'm powering through, okay? Coming out swinging. I think the worst should be behind me. Just a cough and a stuffy nose is what I have left, so we're gonna power through. But yes, and in doing these revisited reviews, when I go back and I re-review things all these years later, often I say, you know what, that was better than I remember it being. And so I was hopeful going into this because I'd never been too big of a fan of Halloween 2, to be honest. For reasons I will explain. But I've never been a big fan of it, so I figured, okay, going back and visit, maybe I'll like it more. And I'm sorry, I don't get it. It's not a bad movie, and I can't say I don't like it, but I've just never been big on this. And rewatching it, there are a lot of things that just sort of stick out to me that just make this a lesser film than the original, and I think it's a big step down. This is why this usually falls in the middle of my ranking, because I just don't care for it. Not a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination, but I just never cared for it. And the things are obvious from the beginning. Yet John Carpenter didn't come back to direct it, and that's fine. He only really directed the first one, and there are plenty of other good movies, sort of, in this franchise. So, you know, he had his hand in it, which baffles me on certain aspects of this movie. And right away, you start with Mr. Sandman, which... why? Because you have a recap of what happened, and then Mr. Sandman is playing... why? I don't know, but they recap what happened at the end of the last film, and then, you know, pick right up. And right away, I've always thought, or at least watched it this time, I thought, you know, a lot of people praise, it takes place in the same night, so it's just continuing what happened. Yeah, but I don't know. I guess I just don't think that continuing on the same night is a good thing. I mean, they did it again with Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills, and you know how smoothly that movie went over. So because people got all mad about Halloween Kills, they switched Halloween Ends to it's 4 years later, and then that. So maybe shut the fuck up and stop bitching about stuff, because it's not gonna make things better. Case in point, okay? You think bitching, they're gonna give us what we want. Well, you didn't like that one. You said, Jamie Lee Curtis is stuck in hospital the whole time. What's this one? And she was still better in that than she is in this. And now, it's not out yet, but I did a revisited review for Friday the 13th Part 2. Comes out on Friday. It's Wednesday as I'm recording this, and I'm going to release it right away. But I said in that review, I'm never a big fan of bringing back the final girl from the last film, or any character from the previous film, just to kill them off right away. But in the case of Laurie Strode, if you're going to bring her back, and all you're going to have her do is lay in a hospital bed the entire film until the climax, when she's finally running around and doing something, wearing a bad wig, I might add. Just kill her off. Just kill her off. I know Laurie Strode's a legendary final girl. Sure. To be assured. But I just think if you're going to bring back a character, have her do more than this. Yes, she's going to be in a hospital, but I've said this before. What injuries does she have? What injury does she have? She fought Michael in a closet. She rolled around. She ran around. I don't remember her getting knocked down, stabbed, falling downstairs. She's barely hurt, but she's in a hospital bed. And yes, there's an extended TV version that shows that she was sedated, so that's why she's out for the entire film. But if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna bring back the heroine from the previous film and just have her lay around than just kill her off. You know? Loomis is the hero anyway. You know? And speaking of characters not getting their justice, what the hell's with Sheriff Brackett? He's with Loomis at the end. He starts yelling at Loomis, "You let him out!" No. And even, I like how Loomis is just, nah, I didn't let him out. He's so, like, no emotion from him. He's like, I didn't let him out. I didn't, had nothing to do. Yeah, and you watch the first film, he didn't let him out. He was already out when he got to the hospital. So, I don't get that. I get them blaming Laurie for what happened, you know, for in Halloween Ends, what happened, that the Halloween 2018 Halloween Kills. I get that more than I get this, because, like, her paranoia caused problems. You know, it caused the mob, as you could say, because no one listened to her, and then she went down, and now everyone's like, oh shit, she was right, and then they became a mob. And so, sort of, she sort of influenced stuff. But for Sheriff Brackett to, like, blame Loomis for Michael getting out, he was already out. I mean, he might not know that, but still. And then Brackett is just gone for the entire movie, for the entire rest of the movie, and we're stuck with Deputy Gary Hunt, who is a lesser character. And shouldn't we follow Brackett trying to get revenge for Annie? I mean, what? Now, admittedly, by Carpenter himself, he wrote this movie while he was very drunk, which leads into the sister thing, which I'll get to. But, like, you got a guy who is certified ready, who is ready to get revenge on Michael Myers, and you just get rid of him. And his body comes carted out, and he's gone. In the film, we follow Loomis and Gary Hunt. Oh, and remember Laurie's crush from the first film, Ben Tramer? Let's have him dressed as Michael Myers for no reason, because it makes no sense, because no one would dress like that. And then he gets in a car accident, or he gets pinned between two cars and explosion, and he's dead, and he's not really Michael. And, yeah. Speaking of Michael, no offense to Dick Warlock, badass name by the way, but I've always felt his performance as Michael is too robotic, which is why I like his performance in Halloween 3, because he is a robot. But here, he walks very robotic, and he does some of the mannerisms, but not as good as Nick Castle did, or some future ones later down the line. It's just very robotic. And the plot of this film. So, Michael Myers survived at the end of the last film, so now he's out, finishing what he started. He's going after Laurie Strode at Smith's Grove Sanitarium, and it becomes a bog standard 80s slasher film that, like, went throughout the entire 80s, that were sort of copying Halloween, like Friday the 13th, and now it's just doing that. And we get a bunch of nonsensical kills, some good ones, like the dunking the lady in the scalding hot water. And again, I must ask, why would you have much like with my revisited review for Evil Dead 2013, why would there be a setting you can go that high with the temperature with hot water? Now, that was a cabin in Mills Woods, but this is a freaking hospital. You think there'd be a safety thing on it? But yeah, it's a cool kill. And then, of course, that what I call the finger up the butt kill, where he takes the scalpel and stabs his nurse from behind. Surprise finger up the butt. Everyone calls it that. And yeah, there's... but then there's kills like you find, like, oh, Dr. Mixter's got 2 needles in his eyes. And then the one lady who I think her name is Jill, she gets stabbed or whatever. Yeah, it's just a bunch of nonsensical kills. There's no plot, really. With Michael, she's just killing people in the hospital for no reason. And our main plot is Loomis trying to get to him. And just as you think he's getting close, Marion shows up and says, nope, we gotta go back to Smith's Grove. Orders of the governor. And it's like, no, this is just to draw out time in your movie because he's so close to, to figuring out what's going on. Nope, someone's gotta come take him away so that then we can have our twist. Laurie Strode is Michael Myers' sister. Now, I'll admit, I never had any qualms with this. I never had any problems with it because it was just common knowledge. I already knew it. So it was never really that big. However, having seen what they did in the David Gordon Green trilogy, now, that being said, they didn't handle it the best, but I've always felt like, or I was watching this now, I feel like there was a better way to do it. She didn't need to be his sister. She's the one that got away. Much like with Alice at the end, at the beginning of Friday the 13th Part 2. She's the one that got away from his mother, so Jason's gonna get revenge. So, she's the one that got away. Kids, Michael's never been big on killing kids except for that one in Halloween 2018, which at this point didn't happen yet, so. But for him to go after Laurie, he doesn't need an actual reason other than he wants to finish the job he started. But John Carpenter, through cans and cans or bottles of beer and probably mountains of cocaine, came up with it's his sister twist, which, but Michael didn't actually need another reason to go after Laurie. He would be going after her to finish what he started. Which, as I said, it could have been wrapped up at the beginning of this film, and then he disappears for another year. Dr. Loomis is disavowed as a doctor for some reason, because he won't shut up thinking Michael's still out there. People thinking that he died in a ditch or something. This is my idea of what they can do. And we cut to a year later. Haddonfield has, grown back. It has come back together, and we're ready to celebrate Halloween again. Move on from that when Michael returns and starts killing again for no reason. They couldn't even say he was hiding in the house because they can't sell, especially after what happened, they can't sell the Myers house, so he's hiding. And Loomis, now knowing it's Halloween, comes back to Haddonfield searching for him. And so that's the whole thing to get him there. Because it's Halloween, he knows Mike might come back, that sort of thing. You didn't need to bring back Jamie Lee Curtis to do absolutely nothing in this film. You didn't need to do that. You didn't need to add the sister thing. He would be going after her regardless. It's just, While I read it, the hospital characters. Most of them are cannon fodder for Michael to kill, except for Jimmy, who, yes, I'm gonna accept the TV cut as canon. He's still alive because he slips and falls on blood and ends up in his car. And he passes out later on the horn, which leads me to a problem. But in the TV cut, there's at the end of this film, they load Laurie up in an ambulance, which they're already at the fucking hospital where they're gonna fucking go. But okay. And they drive off, and then you could have just cut from that to Michael burning. But they cut to Jamie Lee Curtis sitting there, which was supposed to be when Jimmy popped back up. But they cut that out, so it's just her sitting there, kind of looking off to the distance, and it's like, but what's the point of that scene? And now knowing that that's when Jimmy's supposed to pop up, that having that in there just doesn't make any sense. But yes, so he's supposed to be like a love interest thing, and she's out of it most of the time, and I don't know, he could have done more. I don't know. And this has never been officialized, but like, it's rumored that he's Jamie's father because his last name is Lloyd. I guess I've seen things in the internet where his name is Jimmy Lloyd, so it's implied. That's the word I'm looking for. Implied that he's Jamie's father, but I've never been really confirmed on that. So I don't know. But yeah, and really, the thing I really like is this final confrontation. When Loomis finally told, oh, she's Michael Myers' sister, and then Loomis is like, fuck, we gotta get back there. We have to get back there. What is it you do? Fire a warning shot? Shoots the fucking window, and the guy just turns around right away, and they go back to the hospital. And this frustrates me. Like, they're going into the building, and she's crawling after them, and she can't yell. Again, just to run out a little bit of time. And then they get in and she just yells, "Help me!" or something. And then finally, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we get Michael gets shot in the eyes. Gets shot in the eyes, both eyes once, which he's perfectly fine in Halloween 4. He gets just fine. I don't know. He also gets like burnt the fuck up here too. Retcons for retcons, I guess. To be honest, Michael surviving in Halloween 4 was always okay with me. But when I do the review Halloween 4, I will more on that. But yeah, you get Loomis tells Lloyd to leave. And he's like, "It's time, Michael, to turn on the gas. It's time, Michael." Lights the lighter, which Gary Hunt gives to him early on in the film. Lights it, explosion. And Loomis, there's no way Loomis survived that. Michael, maybe. We see him walk out and fall, and he's being burnt to a crisp later, but Loomis was right there when it exploded, right next to the tanks. No way he survived. Especially with minimal scars on his face, and that's it. No. But yeah, and that's how the movie ends. And yeah, it's always been underwhelming for me. I just never particularly cared for it. I don't think it's a bad movie, like I said earlier. I just never particularly cared for it. If you love this movie, more power to you. I just never liked it. And so, I'm going to give it the middle of the road, though, because when it comes to other movies in this franchise, I think it's above a couple of them, but I've never gotten when people rank it number 2. I'm like, no way is it that good. You know what I mean? It's a lesser film in every way, shape, or form, with more they could have done with certain characters like Sheriff Brackett. Like what if Ben Tramer showed up at the hospital finding out Laurie was there? Because they did set up a date, right? And that means he must have actually liked her. So he showed up and is like, "Hey, looking for Laurie Strode. I'm a friend of hers." He's just like the one left. He could have been a character instead of Jimmy. They could have done more with this than just have Jamie Lee Curtis laying around for the entire film. Yeah, it's always been a big dud to me, this film. So yeah, it's the middle of the road. So, what are your thoughts on Halloween 2? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.